Hey guys, Brian here, English Mountain Outdoors. I want to do a video. Last night got into kind of nasty situation. Really cold. Me and my wife were coming back from my dad's place, and I'm gonna get over here out of the wind a little bit. We were on our way back. Weather forecast was just cold temps. There was no calling for precipitation. Well, we stopped. We got off the interstate. We stopped, got something food, and when we come out of the restaurant, it was snowing. Temperature was about 25. We traveled most of the way home. Road was getting white, but it wasn't too slick, wasn't too bad. And then we got close to home, and it got bad. Solid sheet ice. There were cars off the road everywhere, and we could only get the car so far up the road, and it got super slick, super dangerous. There's a lot of cars sliding off of the road. I'm not one to take a lot of chances, especially with only good vehicle I got. So we got within about 2 miles of our house and couldn't get it any farther. We had some really big hills that have to be climbed. So I decided we were going to walk the rest of the way, and my wife wasn't happy about it, but the temp was supposed to get down single digits last night, but you did. It was about 9 here at the house this morning when I got up. But I had my get home bag, which I've always got in my car. I've caught a little flack over it a few times from people. Nothing serious, just some ribbon, good-natured stuff, no big deal. But last night, that bag actually came in very handy, and we walked the whole 2 miles. It took us a while, about 2.5 hours, but we managed to get home safe. We were both frozen, but I wanted to kind of tell you, a lot of people got get home bags. Some guys give me a little bit of crap about it, about how much stuff I've got in it. And last night, I actually only had to use a couple of items out of it. One was this wool blanket. My wife had a coat with her, but it wasn't very thick. It was extremely cold. Wind was blowing, snowing, and when we decided to walk, I got out the blanket and wrapped it around her. Sorry, I put my glove on. Wrapped my blanket around her and grabbed the bag and flashlight, of course, headlamp, and we headed out. It took us 2.5 hours. We walked about 2 miles, most of it uphill. Made a post about it in a couple of the groups, and a couple of people have mentioned chains, that I should carry chains in my car. Well, while we were walking the big hills we were looking at climbing, we watched a front-wheel drive car, a Toyota some kind, had chains on. We watched him slide backwards all the way down one of the hills. I watched 2 4-wheel drive trucks struggle to get up. I've got a 4-wheel drive Jeep. We weren't in it. It's kind of a beater, so I don't take it on trips, but it was here at home. And I guess I could have left my wife at the car and walked myself and got my car, but it hadn't been started in a few weeks, so I wasn't sure 100% that it would even start. So we walked the whole distance. It took us a long time, but we made it. I was really proud of my wife. She kind of panicked at first. She was crying, didn't want to do it, and didn't think she could. But if I'd have needed to, I have enough stuff in my bag to set up a camp and get us safe, at least for a while, a couple nights at the most. But like I said, we were 2 miles from home, so it would have been no problems. But what I wanted to do, I want to kind of go over what's in my bag a little bit. And I want to show you how quick and easy I can set up a quick camp. If I'd have needed to, I could have got her out of it, got her out of the weather, set up a shelter and a fire, get warm. So I found this spot here. I've just been kind of walking through the woods here. I'm not far from my house, on my property. But I want to set up camera, show you how quick I can get a little shelter up, get out of the weather. The wind's not that bad right here, right now. So I'm gonna shut the video off, get my camera set up, and I'm just gonna film my shelter and fire real quick. So bear with me. It's gonna be a little bit longer video than I usually do, but I want to show you what's going on, how I do it, and what I got in my bag, and I'm gonna talk about what I should have had in my bag, and just for some general knowledge, that bag saved my butt last night. So give me a few minutes to get my camera set up, and I'll be back. Okay, what I got, found a couple trees falling down. I know that looks a little rough, but I've tried to shake it out. It's not coming out. Just to get something out of the wind, this is what I would do. I'm going to take in my bag, I got this bag I carry. This is my get home bag. I keep a canteen full of water. I've got a ham radio, which last night was handy. We were listening to road reports from some of the locals. There's a couple frequencies that stay pretty busy when the weather gets bad here. But in this pouch here, I've got spare batteries for my headlamp. I've got some single packs of instant coffee, because everybody's got to have coffee. In here, I have a fleece mask. I did not use it last night. Yes, it was cold, but with the walking and carrying everything, I stayed fairly warm. There wasn't any really big issues. Inside, I keep, this is in both my kits that are in my cars, some fat wood, a lighter, shavings. I can get a fire going with that. Even, like you see, it's all a little snow on everything here. I keep this. It's an inexpensive cookery style knife. It's small, sharp. A friend of mine, he sent this to me last year. I really like this thing. It does a good job chopping. I keep a couple knives with me. One's a chopper, one's a cutter. Set this down. I keep a couple big trash bags. These are the size they'll fit in a 55-gallon drum. It can be used as a poncho. I'm actually going to use it here to stay out of the damp ground. I've got my Mylar tarp, which I normally have 2 of these with me. This particular bag actually had changed a little bit just to do a day hike up at my dad's place. But this is what my intention is. I'll take a little paracord, I'll secure that. Bag always has a saw. I like to keep a little bit of food, Oatmeal is one of my favorites. I'm a big hiker, and I know oatmeal is good nutrition, lots of energy. And to be honest, last night, if we'd have had to stop, a hot meal would have really helped our mental state. I never really got too concerned. I knew we were close to the house, and worst case, I could have come back and got the truck once I got her safe and secure. Headlamp, highly recommend a headlamp in your bag. Keep your hands free for everything. I do keep a Stanley cook pot. Sorry, it is extremely cold out here. It's about 19 right now. Knife sharpener. I have a couple different hanks of paracord. I carry my pistol with me. I got a box of rounds in here with it. Some more paracord. Like I said, I carry 2 or 3 hanks with me everywhere I go. I also have, I keep this K-bar in one of my bags. Love this knife. It's a good beating knife. I've beat the crap out of this thing. It's never failed me yet. I have a small neck knife in here. If I was in a situation where I was trying to get some food for us, good small game knife. It's actually got another little ferro rod wrapped up into the sheath. And then this pouch over here is basically all fire. I got big ferro rods, flint and steel, Texas mini heat kit, some pieces of fat wood I got. But what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna get my tarp tied up. I'm gonna grab a little firewood, and once I get started, I'm just gonna let the camera run. You can see how long it takes me to get my shelter and a fire going. Just want to, I want to show you how having just a little bit of preparedness kind of saved our butts last night. I said it wasn't a life-threatening thing. Worst case, we could have stayed at the car. But with the temps getting down as low as they were calling, we just, we wanted to get home, get warm. So I'm going to get to it and get everything together. I'm going to take my gloves off just because it's easier to tie paracord without it. I do have a piece of paracord in my pocket. Just happened to pick it up at the house. The wind, I don't know if you can hear me, the wind's kind of blowing in from this way. It's not real strong right now, just a little breeze, but it's extremely cold. So I'm going to tie this side down to this tree. Okay, I'm gonna leave the leaves simply because it's a little bit of insulation, but I'm gonna throw this bag down over top of it to keep me dry. Like I said, normally I've got a second Mylar tarp. Also have my wool blanket. And yes, it is extremely cold right now. I know some of you guys up in the north, you got it a lot worse than we do right now. But us little guys down here in the south, we're taking it on the chin right now. I'm gonna grab me a little firewood. The good thing about these woods, there's a lot of dead trees down everywhere. There shouldn't be no trouble. And normally, if I'm just out camping, playing around, I'll start my fire, flint and steel, ferro rod, bow drill even. But, as I'm sure most everybody else has, I keep a Bic lighter with me. There's always one in my kit. Got one in my pocket. I smoke, so always got it. Plenty of fat wood. I'm gonna get a fire going here. Anybody that's watched any of my other videos, you know I love fat wood. That is why I keep my kits full of it. Awesome fire starter. And where I live, there's pines everywhere. In fact, I could get enough fat wood out of that tree right there to last me forever. Whew. Already getting hot. Which I noticed last night. I'm gonna move my camera a second. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna move my camera. Oh yeah, already feeling much better. You know, last night we stayed moving, so we stayed warm. Like I said, my wife kind of started panicking when she realized what we needed to do. I guess one of my bigger challenges was trying to keep her focused and positive. And honestly, the first mile, she wanted to give it up a couple times. She didn't think she could make it. Honestly, with her health the way it is, I wasn't sure myself, but I was pretty sure she could do it. We didn't really have as far to go as it seemed like. One thing I did do, I told her we only had about a mile to go, but it turned out it was actually about 2 miles. But keeping her focused, after the first mile, she quit trying to, she didn't want to stop, she just wanted to get home, so her focus changed, and we got back home safe and sound. We had to jump off in the woods a couple times. There was some cars sliding around. Tried to stay out of their way. It's funny, and when we started walking, there was probably a quarter to half a mile perfectly flat. Only reason I didn't pull on up in there was just there was nowhere to park the car out of the road safe, so I opted to park it back down the road a little ways. As we were going down that flat part, there was probably 10 cars went by us. Not one person stopped, checked to see if we were okay, if we needed help. I probably would have turned it down. I didn't want to get in a car with somebody I don't know, simply for the fact that I see how some of these people drive here. It was a solid sheet of ice. There was no traction whatsoever. Like I said, we watched a car that had chains on. They slid backwards down one of the 2 major hills that are out here. My car, I knew my car wasn't going to go up either one of them, so I didn't even try it. Like I said, it's the only good car we got, so I'm not going to risk it for the sake of saying how big a man I am by driving in it. A couple things I'm going to add to my bag. Some wool socks. I don't own any. I've got a couple pairs of heavy hiking socks, but the wool I know will make a world of difference. And some crampons, the clip-on traction for your shoes for walking on ice. That would have been nice to have. We didn't really we didn't slip and slide a whole lot, but you couldn't walk on the pavement. It was too slick. So that's a couple things I'm going to add. Luckily I had a couple of toboggans in there. I gave her one of them. She wrapped up in this wool blanket. It was a rough night, rough walk back, but we did it. I'm super proud of her for making it. I know she didn't think she could, but now she knows she can if it comes down to it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to you about what we went through. If I would have needed to, I could have set up a shelter like this. With her in here, I could make it a little bigger. Just depends on where I find it. If it's me by myself, this would be plenty big enough. I said I'm super warm in here right now. This isn't even cold to the touch now. I could seal it up a little better. As long as I kept a fire going, I'm not worried about spending the night out here. But I really believe now a bag with the right gear for wherever you're going to be is absolutely necessary. Like I said, I'd only use 2 items out of that bag. I used my headlamp and this wool blanket. Well, 3 if you count the toboggan. Had I needed to stop and set up a camp, I could have used the rest of what was in the bag. I've got water in there for coffee, because we can melt some snow and get water. I got some oatmeal for a hot meal. I really think a hot meal would have been a big plus to our mental state. Both of us were tired from a long drive home. Weren't expecting that, but it is what it is. It happened, and luckily I had the stuff with me to get us out of it. Staying at the car wasn't really an option. It was going to be so cold. I couldn't let the car run like that all night, keep the heat on. And today, after about noon, salt trucks came through. They got. Hey guys, sorry about that. My camera quit on me. What I was saying, about noon, by noon the salt trucks had come through, cleared everything out, and we were able to get the car back home. Point of my video, I just wanted to show that in this bag I had enough. I could have stayed out here by myself a couple days, with her at least a day. If I know I'm going to be out somewhere more distant, I got more gear with me. I got more stuff. I adjust according to what I'm going to be doing. But just wanted to show you this bag. Whether you believe it or not, it can save your butt. There's no way she could have walked without that blanket around her. She wasn't dressed for it. It was like 17, 18 degrees last night. Wind was blowing, it was snowing, it was really miserable out. But we did it. Big thing, keeping whoever's with you, keep a positive attitude. Try to make them focus on the task at hand. Don't let panic set in. It's I kind of look at it last night for me. I got to test out my bag. I know some stuff I need to change about it. One thing is a sling bag. It's got one strap, so I'm going to probably put it in a backpack with two straps. That would have made my life a little easier, because I was carrying her stuff too, her purse and a couple other small things. But it was a good experience for me. She would argue that, but it was a good thing. I saw what I needed to do, did it, got it done. Everybody was safe. Had one of us fallen, gotten hurt. I'm not sure if this got recorded or not before, but I did have a first aid kit with me, store-bought Walmart kit. We bought it back in the summer. We went camping for a week with our kids. I just bought an outdoors camper's first aid kit. It's a great kit. I tied it onto my pack with a piece of paracord. Just keep what you need in your car. You never know what's going to happen. Like I said, there was no forecast for any precipitation last night, so it caught us by surprise. We were lucky to get the car as close as we did. We did a lot of slipping and sliding coming home. I was glad to get out of the car. Actually, it was kind of nerve-wracking, but you know, if you're driving down the road and it's bad roads and you see somebody walking, at least stop and check and make sure to see if they need anything. I was pretty disappointed last night that the 10 or 12 cars we saw go by, not one of them stopped. Nobody rolled down their window and asked, "Hey, you guys all right? You need to call somebody." When we were going up the steep hills, I can understand not stopping. Don't stop on a steep hill, but at the very least, get to the top and get safe and get out of your car and holler down at somebody. It takes a second. Like I said, I probably would have turned it down simply for the fact that I don't like getting in the car with somebody that I don't know how they drive. We got some idiots around here that like to push the limits. These hills I live on, there's no joke about them when they're icy. But like I said, if you see somebody out and they don't, it's not weather you should be out in, stop and check on them. It don't take but a second. I believe you'll be rewarded for it in another way, some other way. A lot of people will give you money to take them somewhere. I would have offered money if I'd have known for sure I could have got my wife home safe. But fact of the matter is, we got home safe. It was our doing. Nobody else had a hand in it. So look out for your fellow man out there. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, so just be the good guy. Stop and check on somebody, especially in weather like what we had last night. It was terrible. Nobody should have been out walking in that, and I was really shocked that nobody even stopped. But I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to let this fire burn a little bit. I might even make me some coffee, and then I'm going to head back for the house. But thanks for watching. Appreciate you sharing it. Hopefully somebody will see something here that'll get their brain ticking and get you moving, get your brain going. I guess I'll see you guys on my next video. Happy New Year.